There have been losses this season by this team where I came back to you with the equivalent of a blank stare. I don't have that today. Not this time. Because I'm not wondering what went wrong here, and I'm not wondering how to fix it. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning from Los Angeles. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers, presented by FanDuel. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots. Penguins and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Chargers 25, Steelers 10 at SoFi Stadium here last night. This game, like others before it, had some promise at some points, had some things go well, had some scenarios which they could have easily capitalized. But if you do that sum ratio in almost every game that you play, you're going to end up looking like a team that's, 5-4 and on the cusp of being caught by the Ravens, even after the Ravens started out 1-5. As I went around the room, in addition to the stark silence from every corner, the one message that came across loudest and clearest came in the form of a single word: consistency. Here, for example, is my attempt to interview Brandon Eccles. Especially after the great game everybody had against Indianapolis, like a little bit of a letdown.
Say it again.
This is a little tough to take, especially after Indianapolis. You guys knocked off the number one team in the NFL.
Yeah, we just gotta, stay consistent. That's pretty much all I can say about that.
How about from the defensive standpoint? Those aren't the numbers they usually get. You guys, one could argue that you guys played pretty well.
Like I said, as a team, we just gotta stay consistent. Keep working hard, try to bounce back next week, get this win.
Eccles had a tough game. He had a really tough game. I'm both surprised and grateful that I even got 20 seconds of his time, to be honest. But he was anything but alone in that regard. Calvin Austin, who might never have rejected an interview in his life, turned around to see cameras, microphones. I was there too, and just said, he wasn't going to be able to pull it off. If it's possible, he had a game that made Eccles' game look good. Cam Hayward told me it's about consistency. Alex Highsmith told me it's about consistency. Troy Fautanu told me it's about consistency. On down the list, everybody spoke of consistency. And I'll say that they're at least on the right track, the right general mind frame to be talking about that. But there's a big difference between talking about it and getting it done. If you've been listening to this program going back to, let's say, the earlier part of this summer, you'll recall that one of my main themes, specifically through training camp at St. Vincent College, was identity. The defense, we knew what the identity was. We didn't know if they'd achieve it or not, but we knew what it was that they wanted to be. That's a takeaway defense. That's somebody who gets the football away from you, somebody who freaks you out a little bit, makes you unsettled. Sometimes they do play like that. They did against Indianapolis. They were okay here. The Los Angeles offense wasn't able to do what it usually does in terms of points, yardage, or anything really. But the offense just keeps flailing. Like, it's got no sense of self-awareness. It's got no appreciation for what it does well, never mind an aim to address what it doesn't do well. So no, I don't have a shrug for you today. I have a pretty emphatic thing for you today instead. And it is this: the offense must immediately become built around Jaylen Warren and the running game, or it's going to be precisely the bust that we all witnessed last night. Let's not complicate things here, okay? I don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers over the past 3 weeks. I don't know why he's firing the football over his receivers' heads. I don't know why he suddenly becomes sold on the idea that he's 25 years old again and can break free from pretty much any defensive pressures. I don't know the extent to which he's the one deciding on his own there at the line to throw rather than run. But I do know this. Jalen needs the football. Jalen carried 14 times for 70 yards. That's a 5.0 average, even though his long was 14. Every single touch resulted in a positive play. You can't say that for Rodgers. You can't say that for DK Metcalf, who really struggled himself. 3 catches on 7 targets, but even that doesn't do justice to the falling down, to misreading some routes. You certainly can't say that about the other wide receiver, Cal. I already mentioned 2 catches on 7 targets. One of those he essentially handed to the Chargers for an interception. Brutal showing. You can't say that about the tight ends, with the respectful omission of Darnell Washington, who caught his only target for 15 yards, and it was a bullet. Pat Freiermuth caught all 3 targets. Jonnu Smith, 1 of 2. But none of the tight ends really became a big factor in this. So they're not your identity. The wide receivers are not your identity. And hear me through a megaphone on this. Neither is Rodgers. If there's one thing that everyone needs to accept here, including Rodgers himself, it's that the earliest stages of this season, in particular, that riveting opener in New Jersey, were not ever going to lead into Rodgers being the guy in this offense. The one who, 5, 6, 7 years ago absolutely would have and should have been that guy. This isn't that year. Father Time hasn't walked off the job. This offense needs to become Jalen-centric, and I mean between now and next Sunday against the Bengals. It needs to be able to run the ball effectively. Jalen, Kenny Gainwell, Caleb Johnson. And within that, it needs to manage time of possession a lot better than the current offense does. Infinitely better. You know what that was in this game? Sit down for this. The Chargers had the football for 37 minutes and 35 seconds compared to the Steelers at 22 minutes and 25 seconds. A full quarter more. The Chargers ran 69 plays to the Steelers' 50. Quite literally, the only thing the Steelers did well on offense was to remember that Warren was on their side occasionally. That was it. Take my word for this, please, if the numbers don't convince you. The holes were there for Jalen all night. He was not going to be stopped by the Chargers. They were neither schemed nor equipped to do so. So the only people who stopped Jalen were some combination of Rodgers, Arthur Smith, and obviously Mike Tomlin. I don't understand it. I can't fathom why it continues to happen. I'd like to presume that the head coach would have long since gotten over his incessant labeling of Jalen as some backup or a 1B at best. Because I can promise you, nobody in that locker room sees Jalen that way. Least of all Jalen himself. Nor should they. Nor should he. Nor does his own quarterback.
Jalen made some really nice plays. He's a talented guy. We got to get him more touches.
This is how it's going to have to go, my friends. It might not be the offense that everybody wants. It might not be the offense that's the best fit for this era, but it's the offense that you've got. It's built around this terrific running back who's as tough as he is talented. And it's got to change. It's got to move this offense more into a direction where there's a rhythm, where there's, a 3-yard gain here or a 6-yard gain there. And then you throw to the tight ends, and you just keep moving the ball. You keep moving the sticks. You keep eating up the clock so that your defense isn't always out there for 70 to 75 snaps. All of this, all of it, gets addressed at least to a degree by operating from your strength. If you get in a little bit of a trouble offensively and you think the solution is to just start heaving it to Metcalf, you're wrong. For the better part of this game, the Steelers were wrong. And there won't be any consistency that's created until they stop being so wrong about their own offensive identity. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454. Football season's finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials so you can join in on all the action. For those of you who are doing real work in construction, in a warehouse, if you're a mechanic, you want reliable, comfortable gear to help you perform well on the job. Brunt Workwear's got you. They've got waterproof boots, safety toe, soft toe, pull-on, lace-up, whatever you need. You can wear them to work, and if they're not right for you, send them back. I don't know of any other brand doing that. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners get $10 off. Just head to bruntworkwear.com. Use the code DK Sports and you're good to go. After you order, they'll ask you where you heard about Brunt. Do us a favor here at DK Pittsburgh Sports and tell them it was from this show. Today's J1Q from JC. Says, good morning, DK. There's a lot to dislike about this game, but with a 41-year-old quarterback missing so many throws, should we be concerned that Aaron Rodgers' best games as a Steeler are behind him? Age comes for all quarterbacks. Is this it, or did he just have an awful game? Well, I suppose I could fire back at you with the same infantile response that Mike Tomlin had when a reporter reasonably asked him this.
How would you assess Aaron's performance tonight?
How would you? Next.
Now, what you can't see from just the audio there is Tomlin tilting his head as if to scold a kindergartner, as if somehow the reporter had done something wrong by asking a question that anyone would have and should have asked after a performance like that. What's worse, from the Steelers' own perspective, Tomlin kind of leaves open-ended what he thought of Rodgers' performance, and I don't know that that's a great place for the head coach to be when overseeing a four-time MVP who just might not take it the right way. But setting that aside, yeah, Rodgers was all of that stuff that you mentioned there, JC. He was awful. Now, is this it? Has age come for him? I don't know. That's not anything that I'm capable of assessing. He's been doing this for a very, very long time. He's had games where he's misfired. He acknowledged afterward that he didn't play well. He got into some of the specifics of it, meaning mentioning particular throws where he didn't do well enough. But you're free to take that wherever you want, JC. Where I'll take it, and what has me concerned, is something else entirely, and it's not at all confined to last night. 3 weeks in a row now, there's been a tendency from Rodgers to try to flee the pocket when the pocket is collapsing. Now, just like I was saying in the opening segment, there are certain facets of this offense that you really can't do anything about. The offensive line has been, from day one of those facets. It continues to be that. What has changed, though, is how Rodgers has navigated it. That began in the home game, the loss to Green Bay 3 weeks ago. He was sacked 3 times. Against the Colts, same type of behavior, 3 more sacks. Here, against these guys, same thing, kept trying to run out of the pocket. He even ran backward in the end zone against Khalil Mack. What good did he think was going to come from that decision? 3 more sacks, including the safety. It's almost as if all of those rushes through the first few games finally began getting to him when he faced the Packers. Or, I don't know, he saw the Green Bay Packers and thought to himself, yeah, I'm still that guy who once wore that uniform. And he's not. He's not. I'm not saying that in a mean-spirited way. He's just not. But accompanying that, coincidence or not, Rodgers has not been anywhere near as sharp in terms of his accuracy, anywhere near as sharp mentally in terms of his decision-making, and anywhere near as in tune with the offense overall, other than Rodgers acknowledging that the Steelers needed to give Jaylen Warren the football more. I didn't hear a whole heck of a lot afterward either that made me think, oh yeah, this is all going to be okay. So I don't know that. What I do know, and I don't mean to just repeat the opening segment here, but it's all kind of tied together. I know that Rodgers can still be a part of a strong NFL offense if his part is in the proper place. Similarly, if the tight ends are utilized in a way that befits their placement onto this roster, why they were acquired for this roster. And the same goes for putting DK Metcalf in his place, meaning you don't necessarily have to feed him 10 to 15 times a game. And I don't think I need to pile on for the other wide receivers. You currently have one player on this offense who's making a dynamic difference. One player who the other side, for the most part, can't really stop. Run through him. Go wherever he leads. I appreciate the question, JC. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. We will not have a double shot Monday afternoon for the simple reason that we won't be back. We'll be flying from LAX to Pittsburgh, but we will be back tomorrow with both a daily shot and a double shot. Appreciate everybody being with me. Appreciate everybody who listens to this show. Thank you so much for that.